Should marijuana be legalized? This is a special campaign video from Brian McReynolds, one of the Republican candidates for state representative in the 94th District of the state of Michigan. And of course, if you already know, Brian McReynolds is, well, me. Anyways, you may be thinking, what is this about here? Well, first of all, we already know by now that today is April 20th, and April is the fourth month of the year, and so, of course, every year on April 20th, there are people out there who are into smoking pot that observe 420, and they'll be like, wow, cool, it's 420 today. And things like that. Or sometimes, you know, when it's 420 on the clock, they'll be like, hey, it's 420, let's light up some Mary Jane or something. And you're probably wondering already, what am I talking about here? Or why am I a candidate for state rep? Or even better yet, why am I a Republican candidate for state rep even talking about this in a campaign video? Well, okay, first of all, I will tell you right now, I don't mess with that stuff, okay? I don't smoke marijuana. I've never smoked a joint to begin with. I have no desire to try it or anything like that, you know? But bottom line, here's the thing, though. While I personally am not a fan of using it, I do know there are people out there that are going to use it anyways, or are going to at least try it anyways, or something like that. And, you know, there's so many crazy things that have happened as a result of marijuana being illegal. For example, I know of a case in point where somebody, you know, had their car stall or something or other, or something happened to their car anyways, and basically, you know, the car was like parked to the side of the road, and this person, you know, stayed over at a friend's house. And next thing that happened, you know, the police found a marijuana pipe near the car. Now, it was not actually inside of the car, so the police had no absolute proof that it belonged to the person. I mean, did it really belong to the person after all? I don't know. It's possible. But one thing for sure, even if it did belong to the person, the police had no proof of this. Because, bottom line, for all anybody knows, some passerby could have just, you know, been driving, tossing the marijuana pipe, and it could have landed right there. The police don't know that for sure. They don't know where it came from. I mean, this could have been tossed out of court, although the individual ended up deciding to plead guilty anyways, unfortunately. And then there's also been instances where, you know, people have had trouble getting jobs when they apply for jobs, all because they decided, hey, you know, they were like, hey, I'm going to just go ahead and try a joint, okay? You know? I mean, I don't do that stuff myself, but I'm using examples here. I mean, I've never tried one, but I know there's other people out there that have done so, and so I'm going to use examples here. Somebody like, let's say a guy named Mr. X is like, hey, you know what, I think I want to try a joint, okay? So he goes, walks around, he's minding his own business, he puts the joint in his mouth, lights up. Next thing, the police bust him, then he gets arrested, locked up, and he has to write on his job application that he got busted just because he was trying a joint to see if he liked it or not. But his future's out the window. You know, I mean, come on here. You know, this is crazy stuff, you know. somebody's future getting ruined just because they wanted to try a joint, you know? I mean, for Pete's sake, you know, when you think about it seriously, tobacco products are legalized in this country. If you're 18 and over, you can smoke a cigarette. And you know what? Cigarettes are more addicting than marijuana. You can get addicted to a cigarette much quicker than marijuana. Yet there's no law against smoking a cigarette if you're 18 and over. But it's illegal in most of this country to smoke a joint. Although in some states, some provisions have been made on ballot initiatives, including right here in Michigan itself, allowing for medical marijuana provided you have some sort of card and all that. And if you have a card, then you can like open a dispensary, and also if you have a card, you know, you can buy medical marijuana and stuff like that. And I've noticed on some of the police shows where police officers will, you know, say, hey, if you have the card, you're okay, you're cool, you know, we're not going to arrest you because you got the card. I mean, yeah, seriously, you know, and it's like, some people will think, why is a Republican speaking of being in favor of legalizing marijuana? Well, I'm not the only Republican doing this. Ron Paul, presidential candidate, also speaks in favor of legalizing marijuana, too. I mean, he, like me, is not one to actually use the stuff and is not one to condone usage either, but he, like me, also favors legalizing it. And you know who else favors legalizing it? Pat Robertson from the 700 Club. I know you're probably thinking, Pat Robertson from the 700 Club? And I know some of you out there watching this are probably thinking, what? And some of you probably don't find him to be your favorite person or whatever and all that, but he raised some points on why he favors legalization. And it comes to what, you know, I'm saying too, you know, that there are people out there that get their futures ruined all because they wanted to light up, you know, and all that. And I mean, seriously, you know, why can't we let people do this stuff in the privacy of their own home without fear of being raided by the law and all that, you know? I mean, granted, I'm not going to go out and say, oh, hey, let's go light up some Mary Jane or whatever. No, I'm not saying, you know, that you who are watching this should actually go and do this. I mean, what you do after you watch this is, you know, at your own discretion. I'm not going to say, hey, I dare you to light up or go light up or something, because, you know, like I said, I'm not one that uses the stuff, and I don't encourage anybody else to use it. I mean, what you decide to do after you watch this video is at your own discretion, and I will not be held responsible. You know, if you do decide to do whatever you decide to do after you watch this video, you know, because, you know, this is, you know, one of those situations where, you know, you have your own mind, you can make your choice, you know, this, I mean, this is a free nation and all that, and seriously, you know, and another thing, alcohol is actually more dangerous than marijuana, but guess what? Alcohol is legalized in this country if you're 21 and over, with the exception of those dry counties, such as that one bar that's half in Tennessee and half in Georgia, and the portion of Georgia it's in is a county that's dry, so like if somebody at that bar wants to go to the bathroom, they have to leave their drink at the table in the Tennessee part of that bar and all that, because they can't bring it into the Georgia part of that bar. Although the state of Georgia is wanting that piece of land so they can get water and all that, and the residents of that section of Tennessee say, well, the state of Georgia can have their water as long as we can have our beer or something like that, or something or other. Anyways, something has got to be done, you know. I mean, I say enough is enough with, you know, the fact that people get their futures ruined just because they want to light up. I mean, come on. We have got to, you know, get marijuana legalized somehow. You know, I mean, yeah, we've got some sort of legalization put forth in this state now, even though a whole bunch of dispensaries got raided, but we need to see to it that people can, you know, use that stuff in their own home without fear of getting arrested. Because, I mean, you know, if you're lighting up in your own home, you're not bothering anybody, you know. What harm is it to let that person do that stuff in their own home? I mean, come on. I mean, okay, anyways, that's all for now. You know, don't hesitate to respond back and tell me what you think. If you agree with what I have said here, or if you disagree, or whatever, you know, feel free to tell me what you think, you know, and also watch the other videos that I've posted on the campaign site too, please. Thanks, and God bless.